we go. Okay. So,
I don't want to do this. So. No. Oh, push this first or this? What do you want? Bigger.
Somebody
talking. This? No. This.
There we go.
And push the flash. I want.
There we go. Okay. So next part was so that was, was there any difference between your youth, how your youth or your scouters would have rated that versus you guys, or did that include? Why don't you just put that in the chat? So if your youth thought, would they say it's a 5, or would they say it's a 1? So as an organizer, you have 1 score. The people that are involved that aren't necessarily doing all the stuff, their view of it could be very different, and whether you have a sense of that, or if you ask people what they thought of it. Just put your score in the chat. And then the last thing is the feedback from your visitors. Did they give you the sense that this was what they expected, better than they expected, or worse than they expected? So I'm just curious, and that may be already in the survey that you've done, because I know I asked the same questions. But just in order to have a conversation about it and to share some stuff with the people that haven't done this yet, what was, kind of what the scoop was. I had a question for what 3 things surprised you about the experience. And again, I'll just call you out, just unmute yourself and comment. So Trudy, what 3 things surprised you about this experience, would you say?
I was really surprised at how self-sufficient our visitors were.
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of echo. And we had anticipated supporting them for meal preparation, for general logistics. They really didn't need our help at all. Like
okay.
they had everything down. It was really well done by their scouters.
Yeah.
I think the other part was how well their English was developed. Some had some challenge, but they worked with other visiting scouts to communicate what they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And we had different opportunities for them to do things, and not all of them wanted to do everything. So it worked really well, I think, for everyone to do something that they enjoyed. So I think they enjoyed having that variety.
Okay. Did they get into town at all on your adventure?
We got to Niagara Falls.
Okay. All right. Great. And do you have any other comments to add?
Well, we also organized hosted dinners with our scouting families, our home scouting families, and they really enjoyed that opportunity to see our homes, how we live, have a meal there. The group that visited my home, we played a card game. I have cats and a dog, so some of them are homesick.
I can see Smokey right behind you right
now. So I think that helped with the homesickness piece.
Okay.
We did have we weren't entirely sure if we were going to have the poles that they had requested. They're the 10-meter poles. So
10 foot, not 10 meter.
10 foot, thank you. I think it was like 2.5 meters or something like that. We couldn't secure them outside of the camp, but fortunately a rover group had brought poles of that approximate length and had been practicing putting structures together. So we dismantled the structures, used the poles, and then made arrangements for the visitors to take the poles to the next location so they could continue using them. So that was what are we going to do? That would be really expensive for us to buy the materials. And it just was fortuitous. We just had lucked into it.
That was a happy accident.
Very much. And I noted that in the questionnaire, the survey.
Good. How about for you, Ian? Oh, hang on. Let me unmute you. There you go.
Okay. I mean, our situation here was a little different because, I mean, personally, I wasn't supposed to be hosting them. I was only supposed to be getting them someplace to put their head down to sleep. And then, but all in all, I mean, they had a day in Halifax. Transportation went okay.
Yeah.
We got them a day or some time down at the local beach, which, because the area they come from in Germany, they're they're a long ways away from salt water and beaches and all that.
Yeah.
So turned them into scout schools for a few hours. They went swimming. Water temp was about 12.
Oh God. Okay.
Crap. We were shoveling them back and forth.
It'll be all the way up to 14 in August, right?
Well, hey, that's warm, okay? I mean, the ice has only been off for a few weeks. So, but in terms of, they were prepared to cook all their own meals. They had the kitchen at the camp to go. It was the amount of food. They fed them,
yeah,
and then they ate again, and then they ate again, and then they ate again.
Yeah.
And it was a 24/7 feeding.
Yeah. And that wasn't really, I don't know if that's the same experience with everybody else, but it's something that I had the call I had prior to this was with the guys that I'm doing at Woodland Trails.
Yep.
And I'm making it very clear, here's the deal, guys. What do you guys have at camp? Because that's what I'm buying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not buying anything more than what you guys would have. And if you want more than what you have, then you need to kick in to make it work, because otherwise our budget just goes out the window. Same thing, the other thing that we're doing here and is that for the Toronto groups, the units funded their transportation. So they picked up the tab for $1,200 for TTC. Yep. And the groups that I've got coming, I pushed back, I pushed that off onto them too and said, okay, we have to hire buses for you guys because we're staying away from camp. The approximate cost of a bus is $750. So if you want to go to Toronto, that's not in our budget. So tell me yes or tell me no. If you want to do it, then I'll get you a quote and you guys can pay for the bus. So I'm trying to take that out of the mix. Yeah. And again, for anyone else that's there that's doing a German group, it's not as important for UK because there's a little more funding, but for Germany, that's something that you need to negotiate in if you're doing a German unit. So I think for Ed's group going to, I think if they're doing a Toronto day, whether you go train it or you school bus it or you bus it, do that. The one thing I found out though, the two learning things that I had is we started our Toronto day at City Hall and we finished it up at Union Station. In the future, I would start and finish at the same place. Everybody got there okay, but it was confusing. The other thing that I just got off the phone with the two of the German unit leaders, and they want to just get dropped off at City Hall and picked up at City Hall, so we're not going to do any transit at all. It's just they're going to book the bus going to drop them off, they're going to ramble around, and then off they go from there. So we're not going to deal with the TTC at all for the second round, which is a big cost change in terms of our budget.
Yeah.
So, and I'm going to be recommending the same thing to other Toronto groups that are hosting to say, how do we do this? Either just, if you can get on a subway, go downtown and stop and just let them do their thing and not get too bent out of shape. I found the same thing as you, Trudy. And Tom, they did their own cooking. They did their own, well, we cooked the big stuff because we had some big dinners. We volunteered that and had some ventures help with that. But if we had just said, okay, here's all the food, you guys go, they probably would have been able to do it. We probably did more than we could have or should have. And that's a learning for us is to say, can you guys step up, or how do you want to share that?
I think one of the problems or to add into it, one of the units, they do a lot of culinary at their camps.
Right.
So they baked. I mean, they were making desserts and things like that.
Okay.
And it just added into the expense for food.
Okay.
Whereas, and like you said in your email there, okay, what would you normally do at camp? That's what they normally do at their camp.
Yeah.
The two groups we're getting in August may be totally different. And
this is why in the survey I asked those questions about food, because I don't know. And, looking back on it, I probably should have had that survey thing out sooner, that we could send it out in advance to get an idea so that it was better on cost sharing. So better late than never. But if they think that if they're used to spending, $10 for a weekend at camp and our cost is $30, then we need to let them know that it's not the same. And here's how do we make this work? Either they need to cut back, we need to add on, or there needs to be some kind of change in that.
Yeah, they were talking 10 euros a person for a weekend camp.
It's only $22 or $20. It's not that much. But the part they're not thinking of is how the things that they buy for that 20 euros. If it costs 40 euros here, then that's where it's out of whack. So it's two parts. It's not just the money, it's what the cost is. So if they grocery shop, that's why I put the questions about grocery shopping. In Canada, is it more than you expected, about the same, or is it less? Because
then multiply that by 80.
No, I know that. No, but the thing is, I hear you. I hear you loud and clear.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, it's like, guys, okay, what we have is we have a budget of 5 euros. So what are we going to do? Because we have some allocation we can move around. And this is why I'm asking for the financial summary from everybody to see how did it shake out at the beginning, so that we can, if we need to move some money from here to there because of group situations, we can allocate as best we can. But we're 1/3 of the way in, we have 2/3 to go. So I'm going to be having a conversation with the German CMT and say, okay, here's our experience today. Guess what? 20 grand's not enough. I need some more money. Find some more money somewhere. Or how can we share this? Or for the groups that are coming, get donations, do more fundraising, do a GoFundMe. We need to generate some more funds.
On our side too, they basically added in another day's worth of meals, because they left here at 4 o'clock yesterday.
Right.
We don't get into New York until mid-afternoon today.
Yeah.
So instead of having only 4 meals to cover, it was actually, or 4 days to cover meals for, it was actually 5.
Okay, so send that along to me. So again, I want to push this back on the German team and say, hey guys, here's what we did for you. How can you help us out beyond, again, I've got this $20,000 pot of money from Germany. I offered $400 to everybody as a starting place, because some groups have funding and some groups were allocating money from their group to help fund this.
There's another thing. The HoHo, the hospitality merchandise.
Yep.
With the units, we won't get any money back for that because it was ordered through, they did it directly.
They have to do it through somebody.
They said it got ordered through their NSO.
Right.
The material
that's me. I've got that money.
in Washington.
I've got that money. So tell me what units they are.
Okay.
So what happened is the CMT,
RW3.
Yeah, the CMT put through a big order.
Yeah.
So what I did is I know what the group that came with me, I know what they allocated. So I took that out of I think the net from the CMT was about $1,000 of profit. So the group that I had was about $300 of that. So I took $300 out and I left the rest in the pot. So there's money that, again, from me that I can transfer back to you out of that pot of dollars. And the other thing is, we were lucky. We offset some costs because we sold merch at the event. Like when people left with the last night, we said, here's some extra stuff. Who wants to buy it? And so we generated another $100 in profit. We sold almost $200 worth of stuff on the way out the door. So, and that's what they used to buy their breakfast and lunch today. I understand that this is, again, Trudy made a comment about the communication conversation. It's been hard. It's been really hard. It's been hard to connect with them. It's just been a challenge. You guys have done a great job. I want to commend you guys because you've been at the front edge of the wedge, and you were the training ground for this, honestly. So I'm just kind of go through. Was there anything that, other than the food budget and planning, that didn't go as planned as far as activities or conversations or cultural things or attitudes that happened that you would go, whoa, this is not how I expected this to go? Or was everything okay? Did everything work out okay?
So general or direct?
General, just at general. I'm recording it so we can share information without it going too far sideways.
The units we had here, in terms of, they arrived, there was 120 of them that came off the plane. We had to divvy those up between what we're seeing in Halifax and the ones going to HoHo.
Yeah.
That worked out really well. Basically,
Great.
we told them, okay, we need 3 groups. They sorted themselves out. We got them on the buses, and away they went.
Okay.
After that, it was like we'd known them for years.
So that's a positive thing.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I just want to check. I mean, I can say, Tom, I think you'd agree that, and Andrew, they're on the phone for the Toronto guys, they were super appreciative of everything we did.
Mhm.
Like, they were very respectful. The kids were great. I thought the leaders were good people. Like, everybody was, you know, they were happy. I don't think anybody left unhappy. That's for sure. Hang on, Tom. I can't hear you. Hang on. Here you go. And I'll unmute Andrew too.
I don't know how to find
very
it.
good. There we go. Okay. Yeah.
Andrew,
Can I just make a comment, Chris?
Sure.
Did you see? I sent an estimate out of effort. What I thought. I'd just like to share it with everybody. So because we were doing some of the catering, I broke it down by the amount of hours we spent shopping and preparing, and it was about for every 5 people, it was about an hour of effort for food preparation and everything. So I don't know whether that corresponds to other people's experience. And also the activity planning, again, in my estimate, took about 4 hours worth of planning for every hour of activity. So if you, I don't know whether that corresponds with other people's experience.
I don't know.
No, okay,
Well,
it's just for the purpose of planning the next go round.
So part of the issue, Andrew, is that all of everything that happened with you happened in like 3 weeks.
Okay.
So you're
So
right. Other people have been involved in this for 6 months. So,
oh, I see.
So
Okay.
the planning side of it, whether it was lots of hard planning or thinking about what to do or whatever, was like I had been asking for everybody's plans and budgets back in April.
I see. Oh, so our experience was not so typical then.
No.
I see. Okay. In that case, disregard my estimates.
You got. I mean, thank God for you guys, because you saved my butt, honestly.
Okay. I was just. Okay.
I had nowhere.
I just want to make the point about the estimate.
Yeah, I had nowhere to put these guys. So, and I was dealing with all the other stuff. So you guys did a great job by just jumping in and being available. So thank you for that.
No problem. It's just like I said. Okay, so we had a slightly harder side. That's fine. Good information. Thanks.
Okay.
I have Chris. Am I on the air?
Yep.
Okay. No, and I want to add a comment just to the appreciation here for Andrew and Scouter Burton. They were out doing all the shopping and had 4 benchers assist them with chopping vegetables for hours and making one or two meals for these people that when they arrived they didn't even want the paper plates that were going to be provided. They say no, we'll use our own kits and we'll clean them. And once the meal finished, it was funny because they started getting up and 2 or 3 and would go to the sink and wash their cutlery, and you think, oh, this is the type of thing that's going to last all evening. But I think it sorted itself out within 20 minutes, and they moved into their camping mode, I suppose, and just got it organized, and I thought they did really well, and I think they're prepared to do more. I'm thinking, of course, I'm hosting a group of Germans on August the 5th coming in, and I'm thinking that even the benchers may have missed an opportunity by not interacting with some of the German youth while they were doing the cutting, just because we had to start so early because we were using first principles and cooking a great meal. But things like that, you want to try to get in touch. If you've got your own local group, get them involved as much as you can with the visitors.
And I would say reach out to other groups too. Like anybody around you, like don't hesitate to reach out. I mean, who might be interested, either they're international scouting oriented or they're just, just throw it out to the groups and say, just please pass this along, whether it's your council area, whatever. Try and engage as many people as you can, and just, more hands make lighter work. So.
These people seem very organized, and I guess the benefit was the fact they're coming in 3 weeks means they've had 2 weeks of camping at the jamboree itself. So I'm sure they're even going to be more super organized.
Well, and the German groups, unlike Canada, because our country's so big, the Germans have had 3 pre-camps. So those groups of 40, they've been together 3 times already. So the leaders and the kids, they've had a chance to camp and do stuff. Whereas for us, the first time that all the Canadians are actually going to meet at one time is in Washington. So at DIBC, that was the first time we had a couple hundred people there. That was kind of half the contingent was in DIBC, but that's the first time a lot of the youth met and leaders met the kids. So the Canadian experience is very different than some of the European countries where they can hop on a train and just show up. The UK is the same. The UK has probably had 5 pre-camps. The UK groups were picked 2 years ago. So the kids have known for the past 2 years who they're traveling with. So their situation is very different than ours in that regard. So again, when you talk to the groups and what you're doing, like I was surprised today. So the 2 unit leaders I talked to from Germany, I said we're going to Woodland Trails. So everybody that's been there, there's Leithen Center, which is a big 60-person kind of lodge place. There's a number of lodges. There's villages with cabins, like the hard-walled canvas top tent buildings, and campsites. They're all taking campsites. So my budget has changed from having a building to having a campsite. So it just went from $600 to $60. So that totally changes the math for my for my camping experience with these guys and dealing with the food and all that.
Okay, so hanging out. So it wasn't, you weren't providing them with free accommodations?
Toronto won't do that. I have to pay.
That's not part of the scouting spirit.
It doesn't matter. That's not how each camp has their own budgeting thing. Some camps are provided, some camps are not. The break I'm getting is I'm getting the weekend rate for 3 days. So I've got to pay for the UK and I've got to pay for Germany in my budget. So that's what's happening here.
Mm.
So in terms of me managing the budget and what I'm cost sharing or what I'm picking up, it's like, okay guys, where do you want to stay? Because we could stay here and it costs this, or we can stay here and it costs that. But if I do this here, then I can't do that there. So what do you want? Like, what do you prefer? And if you guys want to spend, $240 instead of 60 or 120, then it's going to be $6 a person. That's still pretty cheap accommodations. So can you guys afford $6 a kid? Then great, kick me back some money and off we go. So, and how you allocate it, I mean, if you want to take that $6 and use it for food, because that's an easier pitch than saying I need food money, then I don't care. It's just how can you fund the experience? Like, where's the value point for them? Because they might not know the difference between food that, they might say, yeah, okay, if I can camp for $5, okay, that's a deal. I'm happy to give you $5 to camp, but trying to get $5 out of them for food might be hard. So it's whatever they're willing to again, wherever they find the value point. That's, I guess, if you're looking to try to manage your budget, that's what I would comment on. Okay. Let's see. So food expectation. I think we've kind of talked to what would you learn, what would you change. Travel. Trudy, you mentioned went to Niagara Falls. Our guys went to Toronto. Ian, your guys went to Halifax.
Yeah.
How long were they there? Like, what time did they leave in the morning? What time did they get back?
They had almost 12 hours in the city.
Okay.
They went in at 9 in the morning and they came back. Well, they had 10 hours. I guess they came back at 7 in the evening.
Okay. And did they have dinner when they came home, or did they have dinner in town?
They both.
Okay. Yeah.
They had dinner, 5 different things down on the waterfront, and then cooked a meal when they came back.
Okay.
The intention was that they were going to eat in the city.
Yeah.
But again, because we didn't have people there looking over their shoulders all the time, they were free to cook and eat as they pleased. Yeah. Or as they wanted. Yeah. Which is another thing that likely drove the budget up, because a lot of the other hosting units were doing the meals for them. I mean, Wilf downtown in August, they're doing the meals for them, so they've got a little more control over it.
Well, but the thing is, you're not supposed to pay for their food if they ate dinner downtown. That's not your nickel. That's their.
Oh, no, we didn't pay for that.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they came back and ate what we had planned for them to have, like they went downtown on Friday.
Yep.
If they then ate what we had planned and bought for them to have for supper on Saturday.
Yeah.
Then they were out buying more food.
Right. So did you go buy? Did they go buy? Who bought the food?
I bought the initial.
Yeah.
And then they made 2 runs into the city to buy food.
Okay.
And a lot of it was, fruit, vegetables, things that we knew were going to have to be topped up.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I guess, we can, whether you have any comments about how to try to manage that better or set a better expectation for the groups coming later.
If we had have had a more concrete hosting community here.
Yeah.
Which we don't.
Yeah.
And we don't have it for August either.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's that liability that because the units are arriving here, we've given them a place to stay, a place to cook, a place to sleep.
Yep.
And they have a bit of itinerary to go through.
Yeah.
But we still haven't got that group of people put together, and we want for August to oversee everything and be there when they're doing things and say, oh, hold on now, you just you had supper. It's 9 o'clock at night. Do you need supper again? And do you tell that to the people or your company?
Yeah. No, I know it's hard. I know. We're not good at it. The Americans would say, and that's how it would work, right? And that's just not how we roll. So I get it. But somehow we need to, and again, part of this is getting this feedback is for me to feedback through the CMT and have the CMT relay that down to them so that we don't wind up being on the short end of the stick. It's like, how do you want us to manage this, guys? Because we want to be great hosts, but you're eating us out of house and home. And we need that. We don't have enough. There's not enough funding to go around on this. So what do we do? Where do we cost share that it makes sense for everybody that we can help make this work? Okay. So I'm going to stop there on the debrief and then open it up to Brian and sorry. I know it's Ed's phone, but it's not Ed on the line. Who's on Ed's spot there?
It's his wife, Christina.
Hey, Christina, how are you?
Good.
I don't think we met before. Brian, I'm going to unmute you, and Charles, I'm going to unmute you. I'm going to look at the, if you guys want to take a look at the chat for a sec, 'cause I know Charles had some questions. So I'm going to respond to Charles. The coach bus, so I sent out communication on the coach bus. I don't know who the travel company is. Like, I'm not connected with the UK travel planners. I don't know whether the UK unit people are, if they're in touch with it or not.
Ed contacted the coach company. They're based out of California.
That's for Germany. That's not for the UK.
Oh.
So the Germans, yeah. So for Germany, the German groups, the German tour company has been in touch with us because they've been concerned that a lot of getting into the scout camps are going to have a hard time. So I know some of the German ones have been in touch. I don't think the UK. I haven't been in touch with anyone in the UK. So okay. So go ahead. Sorry, Christina.
I made the assumption that Ed had been talking with the coach company for the UK to find out, because we're planning to take them down to Niagara Falls.
Okay.
And so it was within a 10-hour within a 10-hour day, they're only allowed to drive 6 hours.
Yeah.
So if we left the camp, say at 8 o'clock in the morning, then we would need to be back to camp by 6 o'clock at night.
Right.
In order to stay within that 10 hours.
Yes, that is correct. So, and that's the case. The UK announced the bus rules about 2 weeks ago, and I sent that information out to everyone from the UK when I got it. Anybody getting so there's 2 different kind of versions of UK driving. One is if you're being bused from West Virginia to a site in Ontario or Quebec, the bus drivers have already been on the road for a bunch of hours, so there's an 11-hour window that they have to rest before they can ride again. So that means you're basically looking at an afternoon or a late morning start, or it depends when they roll in. So if somebody's going to North Bay, they're going to get there a lot later than if they're going to St. Catharines. So all of that transportation stuff is dependent on that. For Charles, for you in Vancouver, they're starting at the airport and they're getting dropped at your location, which means that they should be free to start anytime the next day, but there is a window on how many hours you can drive. So if you want to go from Vancouver to Whistler, which is, and Charles, are you off mute?
Yes, we won't be going out of town, but our itinerary is basically going out in the morning and get them back in the evening, so that that is more than 6 hours apart. But during which time?
No, but it's 10 hours total. It's 10 hours total, 6 hours driving.
Okay.
So 6 of the 10 hours is driving. So you have the bus for 10 hours.
Okay.
You leave at 8 in the morning, you have to be back at 6.
Okay.
If you leave at 9, you have to be back at 7. And
All
within that, you can't be driving more than 6 hours total. So if you do a tour, so I'm driving in a loop, then I drive an hour, you have a break, you drive an hour, have a break, drive an hour, have a break, drive an hour, have a break. You can do it that way, or you can do like 3 hours out or 2 hours out, 1 hour to somewhere else, and then 3 hours back. However you want to organize the bus travel, you have 10 hours total to work with, and 6 hours of it can be on the road.
Okay, great to know. We won't have more than 6 hours of driving, but the 10 hours limitation is good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Christina, did you have any other questions before I move on to Brian?
No, I don't think so. I think the biggest challenge we're having is more with the German contingent and our groups, that just for budgeting wise, we've contacted a lot of companies to get donations and things like that. But we still don't know what time they're leaving on the Sunday morning, so we don't know how many meals we need to prepare in total for them. And the $400 that we have for the groups is pretty much covering their camp stay.
So
food.
again, I have a $20,000 allotment of money.
Mm-hmm.
I gave everybody $400.
Right.
I can give more, but I'm giving more based on need.
Right.
So as the plans come in and we settle up the first round,
right,
then it's like, now what? Like I think after for what I sent out, or what will be going to the Halifax and New Brunswick groups and the Toronto and St. Catharines groups, at the moment I think there's about $6,000 left in the contingency fund to be spread out.
Right.
But that's got to be, the $400 is all gone, like that's all distributed. There's another $6,000 there to deal with the rest.
Right.
So I haven't gone through all the plans, and I may ask guys to take a second look at it based on this conversation and say, okay, what else can we do? So does it add up or not add up? Right. And that's kind of where I'm dealing with right now.
Right. Well, and taking what you said about going back to the German groups, if they wanted to go to Toronto, they need to ante up with the money. Yeah. If they want to go. And I think that's what Ed's going to have to do, is go back to them and say, you want to go to Toronto, you have to come up with the funds for the bus.
We can't, it's not in the budget. We've looked at the budget, we've talked to the HoHo coordinator, and it's not in the budget to do that. So if you want to go, no problem, but it's going to cost. And again, I'm dealing with a scouter that works for a tour company. I know I can get buses for the day for $750 or less if I can order more. So if that price is good, or if you have a better deal than that to have a school bus because they only need a school bus.
Yeah, the school bus was, I think, about $600.
Okay, so which company are you using?
I think it was for student.
Okay, so if you do me a favor, can you ask Ed to share that information so that if we do a block buy, have multiple buses, we might be able to get a better rate. I just need to kind of rate who can do what. Brian, how about for you? How are things shaking out for you?
We got a lot of experience with this, hosting internationals. So there was the group we had from Russia last summer. Yeah, they would eat anything. But the first of the 3 contingents sent back, food requirements. There's like 2 vegans and a vegetarian, and then there's the normal nut allergy and celiac. So, any suggestions on vegan meals?
Yeah, well, actually, I'll ask Siobhan. Siobhan did, Andrew's wife did a fantastic job with like couscous things. They had some curry stuff, a lot of veggie salad type things. We bought veggie burgers. We bought broccoli, like broccoli ball things were kind of like broccoli meatballs for the vegans. I have one person that's a pescatarian. I had to ask them what is a pescatarian? I don't even know what that is. It's like they only eat fish. So, we had a gluten-free, we had a bunch. So I was actually at my local Value Mart last night picking up some stuff, and I noticed that they had just one section for all the weird kind of dietary requirements. So they had gluten-free, they had vegetarian, they had vegan, they had all that stuff, and it was all marked on the box. So there was pizzas, there was one on the box it looked like little beef tips, but it was not beef tips, it was some kind of veggie based thing. So all those kind of things, I would just go to a store that has that stuff and just cost it out and say, okay, how much do I need for that? Keep it separate. Like just put it in a fridge somewhere and say, this is yours, and that's it. I had a problem with mine.
It's somewhat expensive, I think, when you buy prepared foods. But so if you have any suggestions, any of you guys, on meal items, I mean, it's easy to provide vegetables and fruit and so on. And I know about basic substitute products, like Beyond Meat products. But if you have any specific things that work really well, and you can send me a couple suggestions, I'd appreciate it.
The other thing I would do,
to make it more interesting. That's all.
The other thing I would do is ask the unit leader what the person might like what would work for them. Because again, they may have some stuff that they're jonesing for by the time they get around to you, because they've been dealing with prepackaged, shelf stable, blah blah blah. If you can provide them with something good, they may be able to tell you what they want, and it may be affordable. The one thing that I
had a venture a number of years ago that was vegan, and we went traveling to Russia, and she's like, well, I'm not eating that, and I'm not eating that. After 3 days, she would eat almost anything. So, so we tried to accommodate her to the best of our ability, but after 3 days, she got hungry. So.
Yeah. So the one thing that I want to look to try on one of the meals that we're doing is probably for lunch is to do like wraps or like flatbread pizzas. So just have a whole bunch of things to topping. So even for lactose, you can buy Gouda as a cheese. There's things that you can do where you can have everybody participate. Then they can make their own. They could have one or two, and I think cost effectively, it's probably not that bad when you consider the cost of a hot dog and a bun. Like our guys basically had burgers and dogs at every dinner, pretty much, with stuff supplementing it.
Yeah,
and they were happy with that. And in fact, that's what they were doing the shopping, and they were cool with that. Lunches, it was basically lunch meat, salads, and they had one pancake breakfast, and they took pancake mix with them home, and maple syrup, and they had sausages, and then other than that, it was cold cereal and bread and that kind of stuff. And that's basically their stuff is bread, jam, oatmeal, whatever. So for breakfast, the big Canadian breakfast that we want to throw them, they love it. They don't need it. So if it's expensive, cut it. Or just have pancakes and syrup and don't have any meat, because that's enough. So that would be kind of my observation.
Okay.
Oh, that's good. A good comment there, Trudy. Thanks. For 10 veggies, they need 3 to 4 blocks of tofu. Oreos are vegan friendly. I like that. I did not know that. That's good to know. Okay. Any other thoughts or comments? It's let me see what time it is here. There's a few more minutes. There's no hard stop to this call, so we can go past 11, but I don't want to keep you guys late. So Any other thoughts or questions from either Brian or Christina or Charles, since you're coming up on hosting?
I'm good for now.
Okay, great. Brian, how about you? You good?
Yeah, this is really good to hear the feedback.
Okay,
it's interesting that for the most part everyone had a great experience. It sounds like so. I'm
yeah,
happy to hear that.
they were super excited. I mean, they were super excited. I think the other thing, here's the other thing that I'll comment on. When they arrived, and this is a note that Siobhan did, when they arrived, they're going to be really thirsty. Have lots and lots and lots of water to drink, and just have something ready to go that's really easy snackable, because they'll have been on the road for a long time. And if you wanted, if there's something cost effective, even if you had stuff for a wrap, and they could just make a wrap and just make them all veggie wraps. Don't even put out any meat. Like veggies and cheese, lactose free and regular cheese. Just let them make something that they can just do quick as a wrap and put on what they want, and off they go to just take the edge off. Something like that might be a good way to go instead of prepping. I did talk to our guys. We had pasta waiting for them because we knew they were coming in late and they might want something warm. So we did meat sauce. Anything you can repurpose. So pasta can turn into chili, can turn into something over the 3 days. That's a good idea. I asked the 2-unit guys, because they're going to be coming in from the Bruce Trail. So anybody's getting a Bruce Trail German group, their expected arrival at camp is 3:30. So they're going to be coming kind of mid-late afternoon. I suggested doing having a pasta dinner at the beginning, because it's a simple, big kind of meal to have. And they were both okay with that. I've got 2 other units to talk to, so I'll find out more from them, but that's kind of what our plan is for that. Okay.
I was interested to hear Ian's comment that when the guys arrived after a few minutes, it's like, yep, these are just like our own guys here. We're happy to host them, and everyone's getting along fine. I've experienced that many times, that we all belong to the same World Scouting organization, and we all have the same value system, and it's really easy to build those relationships quickly.
Yeah. And that's for me, that's really why I want to try to get as many people to touch this a little bit, because I unless you've done it, you don't get it.
Yeah. Also, Ian's point about they wanted to do the work, so don't knock yourself out trying to get a big committee together.
Yeah.
They're there to look after themselves. They just want you to help them experience your local Canadianism or whatever.
Yeah, so. And I think Trudy's point about taking the kids to share some home time with them, that's going to be huge. That's going to be huge. So if it's at all possible to accommodate that, like we stayed in a neighborhood. Actually, our first day was we went to a community pool and had lunch at the pool. So they all got to go swimming the first day, and they thought that was a blast. Because they're getting to see kind of what is in the community and mixing up with people. The comment, we had one of the, I've got a video that I'll be posting from one of the youth spokespeople who was in our group. And the thing that shocked her the most was how friendly everybody was. Like, and how many people in the grocery store, everybody wanted to talk to them, and where they're from and what they're doing and how are they and are they enjoying their stay. And that was surprising for them. The other thing I thought was interesting,
the emergency room,
from the Germans, is that they were surprised at how many trees we have here, because he said in Germany it's all fields. There's no, I guess, there's the Black Forest, but basically you don't have any trees. So they did a ravine hike, a 10K ravine hike on the Thursday at Edwards Gardens, and we had a picnic, and there was a concert happening. So the plan was to go to the concert. I don't think anybody actually made it to the concert. But the hike, they were just blown away that they were in the middle of a huge city and all they saw was trees and wildlife and nature and stuff. And that was a huge wow for them. So it's great to get a perspective on your own home from someone else, to say, wow, we really are lucky where we are. So for the kids, that's a great learning, I think. So.
And Chris, your comment with regard to the Toronto visit, just drop them off at a central point where they can meet back again for the bus to get back to camp.
Yeah.
Let them on their own. Build a scavenger hunt or a plan, or give them maps or something so they have an orientation where to go, but don't worry about having to escort them around.
Yeah,
They're
no,
not children. They're not children. They're world travelers now, right? They've been to the World Jamboree.
yeah. So, I mean, and I'm happy to, anybody that's doing Toronto, I'm happy to share a scavenger hunt thing. We are for the UK group. If you bring a UK group in, we've asked the mayor to welcome everybody at a time. So I'm waiting to get confirmation back from City Hall. I didn't realize when we were there on Friday that they do a flag raising. You can request a flag raising. So I'm actually going to go back and ask them if we can do a flag raising, and it's on the upper deck of Toronto City Hall. So you take the ramp. Our guys took the ramp up. We were waiting in the foyer, and they went up the ramp, and they're up where the wedding photographer area is. It's like, well, where are you guys? He said, oh, you're up there. How did you even get up? I didn't even know there was an up there. And so they came down, and we met with one of the counselors to welcome them in the City Hall area, or on the foyer. But I'm going to amend the application that I put in to see if we can get up on the top and have everybody meet up there, because it's a big space. And if we could get them to put the Scout flag up, that would be even cooler. So I'm going to try and see if I can amend that. So that's just we'll see what we can do. So, but other Toronto things, weather dependent, we're hoping to have units at Snake Island. So you can camp in the Toronto Island. So we do have groups camping over there. What I don't know is whether it's going to fly or not, because they've been kind of week to week, they've been canceling reservations. And we have a backup plan for those units, but I don't know what the scoop is yet for Snake Island. We also have a campfire booked for over there. So the campfire I think will stay one way or the other. So if people do want to go to arrange to go to Toronto Islands for a campfire as a part of a Toronto day, that's something they could book in. But that would mean, however your bus plan works, it's the bus goes to Toronto, you do some sightseeing, you take the ferry to the island, you do the campfire, you take the ferry back. So it's going to be a late night getting back to wherever you're staying if you elect to do that. So just need to keep time frame in mind. Anything else?
Yeah, Chris, this is Charles. Just something to share with all the folks here.
Yep.
As I said, our group went to Taiwan a couple years ago, and when we visited the 4 local Taiwanese group in our 2 weeks visited then. So by hosting to UK units is part of the reason that we want to pay it forward. As we know, it's really important to have youth for this kind of international scouting experience. So especially our youth and scouters who went to the Taiwan trip are very excited, but they know what they can expect when our UK visitors are here. So I think the super important things for we as a local host is get all the logistics ready, including all the meals, all the accommodation, especially local transportations. So that will give the visitors a pleasant experience.
I would only add to that I was saying to somebody that my motto for this is hold on loosely, but don't let go, because whatever we plan, we need to be prepared to blow the whole thing up, because they may want to do something totally different. So
yes.
and even heading into the Jamboree, the plan can be one thing, but after they've done 12 days at the summit, they may decide that they just want to go to the beach. And doesn't matter what's out there, they just want to relax. So I think we need to be mindful of that if their experiences, if it's going to make it a bad experience because we're pushing them to do things, just to be aware that we need to be able to just take the foot off the gas and say, okay, great, let's blow the plan out, and guys, just take it easy. What do you want to, let's just do whatever. So because they don't always just want a tour, they want to live more than that. And I know different people are doing different plans, and it's certainly subject to whatever's available locally, but I just wanted to kind of leave on that thought that, to be best hosts, we want to have a great list of ideas to do and hit some highlights. But we want to make sure that the people that we're hosting have get to do what they want to do. So let's make sure we ask and do our best to do that. Okay.
Don't know if anybody else I got this.
Yeah, so did I.
Oh.
Yeah, we got the Germans, gave us a thank you gift, and that's another thing. What we gave them for me is, and all the for all the unit leaders that I've got, we make maple syrup at Woodland Trails, so they're all getting a bottle of maple syrup to take home, and some patches that they wouldn't get otherwise, through the jamboree from us, some local stuff. So make sure that, because they've got something for you. They'll have something for you, whether it's a UK groups or you guys. So even if it's a necker exchange, have some neckers on hand to trade with the leaders. And Trudy, I mean, was this your first international experience, Trudy?
Yeah, it was our first experience. We've been a fairly small group. In the last couple of years, we've gotten bigger enough that we could do something like this.
That's great.
And we've only just had a troop for the last couple of years. And with the Cub Jamboree coming up next summer, this was a great experience for our kids to see the excitement about going to a jamboree, but meeting international groups. So we're already planning a lot of fundraising for next year to make sure our pack gets to the Cub Jamboree. And now our scouts are also looking forward to, okay, well, when's the next World Jamboree? Where is that going to be?
South Korea.
It was a fantastic experience.
Good. Yeah, South Korea. And the nice thing is if you guys want to go to Germany, they'll love to have you back.
Oh yeah.
So you just plan a trip and go to Germany. They have a castle. One of their scout properties is a castle. Just to let you know. So if you want to go stay in a castle in Germany on the Rhine, that's one of their options. So
we had a lot of address exchanges as well as the neckers.
Yeah.
And then they also put together a songbook.
Yes.
And in all of the homes where they were hosted for dinner, they signed and autographed and wrote a lovely message to all of the hosts. So yeah, all of our scouters had our neckers exchanged. So we were planning for that. And we also purchased Scouts Canada Canadian flag crests, one for everybody. And we got pins from the city of St. Catharines, the region of Niagara, and Niagara Falls. So everyone got pins and crests, and they seemed really happy about that.
Good. So yeah, like there's lots of things that are free. Just make sure you go and ask for them, and you can take advantage of that. Okay, great. Okay, well, I'll wrap it up there. Thanks everybody for your time, and I'll pass this information along. If you haven't filled out the survey yet, please do, and I'll share that information with the rest of the gang so that we can do we can enhance the experience and minimize the grief for our hosts going forward, and make it a better kind of thing all around. Okay. So thanks, guys, for your time, and have a great rest of your Sunday. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.
No problem.